Welcome to Prime at 9. I'm Lishni Cheste. Now the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday stressed on the attendance of MPs in both the houses of the Parliament and warned them of changes if they don't change themselves. Warning comes as the government faces a furious opposition over the suspension of two of Rajya Sabha MPs for their violent behavior during the monsoon session. Nagaland Chief Minister Nefirio said that the excesses committed by the armed forces through the Armed Forces Special Powers Act do not go well with people of a democratic country like India. Rio said it was decided at the cabinet meeting that the centre would be requested to repeal the controversial law from the entire northeast region and not just Nagaland. Naga People's Front leader and Rajya Sabha MP KG Kenny on Tuesday claimed that the Armed Forces Special Powers Act should be repealed immediately as it is tantamount to a license to kill. Kenny said that he wants to awaken the conscience of the nation that the act is detrimental to the national interests. Mob vandalized a city school during the CBSE board examination of students of Standard 12 in the Vidisha district on Monday after allegations surfaced regarding religious conversion of students being performed at the school. School manager of St. Joseph's School, Brother Anthony, said that the names of the students mentioned in the letter do not study there. Now for the news in details. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday stressed on the attendance of MPs in both the houses of the Parliament and warned them of changes if they don't change themselves. The Prime Minister's warning comes as the government faces a furious opposition over the suspension of two of Rajya Sabha MPs for their violent behavior during the monsoon session. Both houses have been facing continued disruptions and adjournments amid the opposition's protests over a range of issues, including civilians' killings in Nagaland and farmers' demand of legal guarantee of fair MSP along with compensation to farmers killed during the agitation against the farm laws. The Prime Minister will call district presidents from his constituency, Varanasi, on December 14th. Nagaland Chief Minister Nefirio on Tuesday said that the excesses committed by the armed forces through the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which allows the latter to act with impunity, do not go well with the people of a democratic country like India. Rio's cabinet decided to write to the union government demanding immediate repeal of the AFSPA from Nagaland in the aftermath of the killing 14 civilians in a northeastern state during a botched-up anti-insurgency operation of the armed forces. Rio said it was decided at the cabinet meeting that the centre would be requested to repeal the controversial law from the entire northeast region and not just Nagaland.
Their demands, which they made, and every person who had they have spoken very strongly, and therefore taking this to the cabinet this morning, we took a decision asking Government of India to repeal the Armed Forces Special Power Act in the state of Nagaland, not only in Nagaland but Northeast, and if Government of India agrees, we feel that it will be better if we remove this act from the country, because India is the biggest democratic country in the world, and through this act, the excessive made by the armed forces, it does not go well with the people and in a country like India. No, it's up to Government of India, because the law permits that they can take such decision at the highest level, but it is the wish of the people. So we have to express and communicate to Government of India.
Earlier in the day, the State Cabinet called off the ongoing Hornbill Festival in protest against the killings. After the killing of 14 civilians by the paramilitary forces in Mon district, Naga People's Front leader and Rajya Sabha MP KG Kenny on Tuesday claimed the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, also known as AFSPA, should be repealed immediately as it is tantamount to a license to kill and it has only created animosity between the people and the government. Condemning the killings by the Indian Army's 21 para-special forces who have been named in a police FIR, Kenny said that he wants to awaken the conscience of the nation that the act is detrimental to the national interests. He also said the act has been used with impunity, killing innocent people, and there is no law to prosecute them. Kenny also welcomed Shah's comments, saying that the circumstances as per his description are yet to be authenticated. But as for the government expressing sincere regrets, is something the people are glad for. Mob vandalized a city school during the CBSE board examination of students of Standard 12 in the Vidisha district on Monday after allegations surfaced regarding religious conversion of students being performed at the school. The sub-divisional magistrate informed that all the children are safe. Speaking to the media, SDM Roshan Rai said that the police personnel have been deployed for the security of the school and all employees, including nuns, are safe. School manager of St. Joseph's School in Ganj, Basoda brother Anthony told media that a letter was circulated alleging the conversion of students was being done in the school. A letter was circulated in the name of the school that 8 Hindu students have been converted to Christianity, he said, adding that the names of the students mentioned in the letter do not study here. The date October 31st was mentioned in the letter, which was Sunday, when no students or teachers report to school, he said, adding that the students do not study at the school. I have no information of any such student, he said. The manager further said that he had informed about the same to the superintendent of police and the district magistrate. However, sub-divisional police officer Bharat Bhushan Sharma claimed that adequate arrangements have been made to provide security to the school and employees. Nilesh Agrawal, who claims to be a Hindu community leader, warned of further protests if the school tries to convert students. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor on December 7th, while talking about Nagaland civilian killings, took a clear stance on Armed Forces Special Powers Act and said AFSPA need a review.
We've had an innocent security chap has lost his life, various civilians, there's been civil disturbance in a state where we are trying to win over the state where the government claims to be engaged in very successful peace talks. Look at the kind of condition they have reduced the state to today. And then, in our Congress Party manifesto, we had said that the Armed Forces Special Services Act has to be reviewed. We cannot afford to let it be perceived by people as something that allows security forces or military to act with impunity. Now, all of this has to be done. We should have had a comprehensive discussion, such a major issue, where the Home Minister and the Defence Minister, because these were soldiers involved, they should have actually addressed the House and listened to what the House has to say on these matters. Instead, you get a very short 2-3 minute statement and the Minister walks away without taking any questions.
After the Nagaland firing incident, Shiv Sena MP Arvind Sawant on Tuesday said that it is the duty of all political parties and governments to keep Nagaland peaceful and not deliver statements that would disrupt peace in the state. Speaking to ANI, Sawan said it is our duty to keep Nagaland peaceful and not to deliver such statements that would disrupt peace in the region, whosoever be at power. Expressing condolences over the incident, the Shiv Sena MP said that a painful incident must be probed. The incident that took place in Nagaland is very painful, although the country's paramilitary forces never behave like this with their own people, he said. But the painful incident must be probed, that why, where the laborers got killed, he said. Yesterday also everyone in the House expressed very serious condolences on the matter, Sawan said. The minister has stated that a special investigative team will be constituted which will investigate the entire matter, he said. When people believe in the legal system, then people should let the SIT probe, Sawan added. Talking about Congress' decision to send a 4-member delegation to the state to report the situation on the ground, Sawan said that it is democracy and if Congress does not believe the government, then why? Then they can send the delegation. It is the country's responsibility to establish peace in Nagaland, and the poor people who have lost their lives in the incident should be given appropriate compensation by the government, he said. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Home Affairs on Monday directed all agencies to ensure that no such unfortunate incident reoccurs in future while undertaking operations against insurgents. In commemoration of World Soil Day, the District Soil Conservation Office in Waka organized a Farmers' Mela on December 7th in the Community Hall of Soil Colony in Waka. Waka DSCO Lide Momuri said World Soil Day is commemorated on December 5th annually and it aims at spreading awareness about the importance of soil. He added that soil in poor condition leads to degradation, which is a pressing environmental issue globally, and the day encourages people to come together and think of sustainable ways to manage soil resources. Speaking on soil management, Lidemo Muri said, soil management is the application of operations, practices and treatments to protect soil and enhance its performance and success, such as on soil fertility or soil mechanics, which include soil conservation, soil amendment and optimal soil health. In a keynote address, JSCO of Waka, Inzanbini and Jami spoke about the importance of Soil Health Card or SHC. She said that the SHC is used to assess the current status of soil health and when used over time to determine changes in soil health that are affected by land management. A soil health card displays soil health indicators and associated descriptive terms. SHC cards were also distributed to the farmers during the program. Later during the technical session, a demonstration on soil sample collection and a demonstration on soil testing were done at the District Soil Testing Laboratory of Waka. In a major drug bust, a team comprising Manipur policemen and Assam Rifles personnel have seized illegal drugs estimated to be worth Rs 500 crore from a warehouse at Moray, a border town in Manipur's Tengnopal district. The seizure based on intelligence was made by the Moray Battalion of Assam Rifles during a joint operation with Manipur police in the border town of Moray, said a statement from Assam Rifles. The drugs, which comprise 54 kg brown sugar and 154 kg methamphetamine, were estimated to be worth over Rs 500 crore. A drug trafficker of Myanmar origin was arrested. Assam Rifles has been at the forefront of combating cross-border narco-terrorism and insurgency emanating from Myanmar, the release said. This narco-terrorism is a major source of finance for the Indian terrorist groups based in Myanmar and has umbilical cord linkages with other players in the Golden Triangle. This scourge is the main reason for rise in drug addiction among the youth of India, especially Northeast region, and is also a source for fueling terrorism in the region, said the statement. Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh appreciated the security forces for the drugs haul and shared details about the seizure. The person who was arrested in the raid was handed over to the officer in charge of Moray Police Station. Further investigation is underway. Minister of State Home Nityanand Rai on Tuesday said in Lok Sabha that the extension in territorial jurisdiction of the Border Security Force in some states is aimed at empowering the BSF to discharge its border guarding duties more effectively. The extension in the territorial jurisdiction of BSF in some states is aimed at empowering the BSF to discharge its border guarding duties more effectively in the wake of the use of technology like dynamic remotely operated navigation, MOS, Rai said. Earlier in November, BSF said that the enhanced jurisdiction will help BSF to strengthen the hands of the police. The enhanced jurisdiction will help BSF to strengthen the hands of the police, a statement issued by the BSF stated. This is an enabling provision that is aimed at strengthening and complementing the efforts of the state police, it stated. BSF has been acting in close coordination with police to conduct joint operations, including joint depth area patrolling, deploying joint narcos, etc., and establishing of anti-human trafficking units at different places along the Indo-Bangladesh border, reads the statement. Telangana Rashtra Samiti MPs to boycott entire winter session of the Parliament from December 7th. Issues for the boycott are paddy procurement, 12 suspended MPs of the Rajya Sabha and other regional matters. The winter session commenced on November 29 and is scheduled to conclude on December 23rd.
Very heavy heart, we say. Nobody loves to boycott in a house to which they are elected. We, the TRS, Telangana Rashtra Samiti party members, 9 in the Lok Sabha and 7 in Rajya Sabha, have decided to boycott the entire session till 23rd, having failed to at least raise our protest in the House. This is an anti-former government, insensitive to the actual demand, sensitive demands. Today, piles of grain is rotting on the roads for the simple reason the FCI, on the advice of the GOI, Government of India, is not lifting the paddy, both boiled rice and also the other seasonal rice. Now this has caused the grain to go rotten.
It is very important for all the nations to stand together during any disaster, and all have to remain prepared for the different mutations of COVID, said Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat on December 7th. Speaking at the curtain raiser of PANEX 21, CDS Rawat said if biological warfare is beginning to take shape, there is a need to put act together and strengthen to ensure the nations are unaffected by these viruses and diseases.
The manner in which the ecological and environmental degradation is taking place all over the world, we are seeing major changes happening. Disasters are taking place. Some natural, some man-made. We've had tsunamis, we've had earthquakes, we've had unprecedented rainfall causing floods in areas where we hardly had any rain. And this is not just in our country, it is happening in every nation. And to top it all, now we have virus-generated pandemics for which we have to be prepared for in the future. When you have such pandemics, these pandemics do not remain confined to one nation's boundaries. They travel across from one nation to the other. And therefore to state that individual nations on their own are responsible for taking care of the people is not the best way forward. I think it has to be a joint response, and we have to develop joint response mechanisms. And I think PANEX 21 is one good method of getting together to see how we can prepare for the future look at the present and prepare for the future. First, of course, we have to look at COVID itself. We find that there are variants now coming in, the Omicron is there. Whether it is going to again mutate into something else, we need to be prepared for, and I think the medical fraternity in particular will have to get the act together to find ways and means of overcoming such pandemics. The other issue that I wish to highlight is that is this also becoming the new kind of warfare? And if this is the future warfare and that biological warfare is somehow beginning to take shape, then once again I think we amongst our BIMSTEC nations need to act together and strengthen our effort to make sure that our nations do not get affected by such kind of diseases, virus, and we must be able to protect ourselves from any such thing happening. And to top it all, let me tell you that the armed forces of any country will have to step in wherever such a natural disaster or a pandemic takes place. So I think it is important for us in uniform, men and women in uniform, to see how best we can support our nations.
That's all we have for now. Stay tuned for more news with Hornbill TV.